Welcome one and all to an F2 video back on the channel. Once again, it's been a while since we've done a bit of the hot lap and setup series, and we're looking at race starts, a big point in the F2 races. We're looking at the 2019 and the 2020 cars racing in the Carlin, and we'll be looking at some of my recent F2 league races that I've been doing, and I've been had some good starts, had some poor starts, and we'll run through them to make sure you can get the best starts you can possibly can with the F2 cars on the F1 2020 game. In the dry and in the wet. We're first we're looking at the Vietnam race I did. This is the sprint race, to be precise, round number 2 of the F2 Championship at RLH. And it's a good start. We're in the Carlin on the left-hand side, come towards the middle. It's a brilliant start, getting ahead of both Dam's cars down towards turn 1. Capello fighting it back. And I think the big thing about the F2 starts is adapting, being adaptable, and just being aware of what's around you. We'll go on board now, have a look. And see how the start is. Really good reaction times, really crucial in F2, of course, it's crucial in any start. And then just managing how we work our way through the transmission, so no wheel spin at all, and actually only getting into full throttle, sort of once or comfortably into third gear. We get down to that turn 1 braking zone, we're aware of the car on the inside, give him a little bit of space, and now we can work out how can we get past him, can we get a bit tighter. Here's a little bit of moment, so we react to it, and hold that tight line, which switches to the inside, and we're going to have the high ground as we run out onto the main straight. We're now looking at a bit of slow motion, and keep your eye on that bottom hand of the screen, the throttle application. That's the crucial bit, really. See, we're holding 9,000 revs flat out on the rev limiter, and we shift up second gear quite early, and we're not quite at full throttle yet. Still not quite comfortable. We get into third gear, then we can put on full throttle. Ahead of Multi on the right. Here, a little bit of wheel spin, a bit longer than we had, and we get ahead. Now we're going to have a look at a wet stop. Similar sort of application. We're in the 2019 F2 car this time around, but it's the same for both. It's the same theory for both of them. We're in third place, just behind our teammate who was on pole. And again, it was a really good start. We sort of just had nowhere to go on this one, trying to find a way around the outside because we were on that outside spot, and getting ahead of Wesley in the Campos, just behind. As we worked our way through the first couple of corners. Once again, we'll go on board. And we can see, holding those at 9,000 revs, max revs basically, but not max throttle application. So when we get going, we want to be in that nice sweet spot, and we just keep adjusting it, working out where the limit is. Of course, for this race, we hadn't actually done sort of a wet quali or a wet race beforehand. So it's just feeling where it is and pushing the limit, but not going too much to cause a spin, and then adapting. So we managed to get around the outside of Wesley, not pushing it. Our teammate wouldn't want to make a risky move with our teammate on that one, but we'll slow it down once more, have another look, and keep an eye on that throttle application at the bottom right. It never drops to zero. That's the crucial thing with this start. It goes up a little bit. We see we push it up, and we're pushing it. We're trying to get that drive in the first gear, drop it down a little bit as we think about changing, and then it just feeling the slide, feeling when we're about to go, and that's when you'd ease off the pace. But see, at this point, we've got the throttle planted. We're now going full throttle midway through fourth gear, and now we're thinking about where we're going to place the car, trying to maybe look for a move around the outside. But of course, we are aware that Bottomos could sort of understeer out in the wet. The F2 cars don't have the most amount of downforce in the world, but a good start. We'll now have a look at how it sometimes can go a little bit wrong, how you need to be adaptable, because that's a key part of these F2 starts. It can be getting away good yourself, but you need to adapt to people around you, because others can get good starts, others can get poor starts. You need to adapt. See me and Brent coming together there, and that sort of set off a chain reaction, and there's a massive incident down at turn 1, but you need to be aware of that, even if you're the one that maybe caused it, if you got involved, or you're just an innocent bystander. You need to be able to adapt and work your way through it all, to make sure you avoid any wing damage, or avoid losing a massive amount of time and a massive amount of places. See at Vietnam, it's a brilliant start from Brent to our left-hand side there. He comes up the middle, and it's just a bit awkward on that run down towards turn 1. And at this point, we're on the outside. We can see the red arrows. The proximity arrows are important when racing. Just to keep an eye out. See, I make a little bit of contact there, and take evasive action if you have to. It's better to take evasive action than cause another incident. And see, batting Rogeri here, it's that same thing earlier on. We had the inside line, we had the high ground, and we're just sort of working out when we can shut the door, really, and to keep hold of our position. We'll have a look at it once again, a little bit of slow motion for this start. And again, it wasn't a bad start. I think maybe that point where I dropped it into second gear, not at the right moment, losing that sort of the pace early on in second gear. That's where we lost out on the start. And just awkward. I think I held my line. Brent maybe looking to try and work his way through to the gap out in front, and that just caused a bit of a building of errors, really, in the sort of the top group. And a bit of an incident. I don't think it was really anyone's fault, but then see we avoid the Trident there, and unfortunately comes together with the other one. But it's just trying to pick your line, work your way through it, and avoiding carnage, because F2 starts, as we've seen in real life, can happen. You know, 22 cars now if you're racing with the F2 2020 cars, and things can just get a little bit messy sometimes, and that's just the way it is. But big key things to the start is be careful on your throttle application, avoid wheel spin. That's what I would say. Make sure you have it on 9,000 revs when you start, but don't hold it all the way down, but just make sure it's on 9,000 revs. And then also just be adaptable. Focus on your surrounding. I think you need to be a little bit more tentative than when you're racing just the normal F1 cars. And that's the best advice I can give. So I hope everyone looks forward to my F2 League races.